tape. I had the utmost confidence in that. I was not going to blow you away with a phenomenal 40. I was not going to jump 40 inches. I wasn't going to wow people. That just wasn't me as an athlete. I'm a football player. I knew that I could, within that box, that I could play. That 10-yard window I could play. I could get the job done. And so, I didn't run well. I didn't bench well. I interviewed well. I think they saw my football IQ come out, but to me, it was one of those things you had to do to get where you wanted to go. And so, but to me, I wanted to play football. And so when the Saints made me the first fullback selected, taken in that 2004 draft, that was the best day of my life. Next to my kids being born. It was everything I ever wanted. And so, it's kind of funny. When I got recruited to Arizona State, I remember telling the guy that recruited me, "Hey, we'll have a chance to play as a freshman." So I didn't want to come in redshirt. And he goes, "Oh yeah, sure." And of course, every recruiter is going to tell you what you want to hear. But I was dead serious. I came in tip-top shape, came in strong, came in about 260 pounds as a freshman, and I ended up. I wasn't one of the guys that was picked to play as a freshman. I ended up starting as a freshman at Arizona State. And that was my goal coming out of Arizona State when I got drafted by New Orleans. I want to start as a rookie, and I remember Jim Haslett was the head coach. He told me, "Hey, we drafted you to come in right away, and you're going to need to do what you did in college because we're happy with what you were able to do there. We think if you can do that here, you're going to be successful." And that was the case. I started as a rookie. It's a dream come true, man. It sounds cliche, it's I hear these guys every draft year, every year, even when I played every draft. Now that I've been retired now for 8 years, I hear it every year, right? It's just a dream come true. I've been dreaming about this since I was 7 years old. That was me. The dream come true, man. It's a cliche, but it really is. It's everything I ever wanted to do, and I did it, and I'm very happy with it. There's so many things when it comes to your NFL career that you can't control. I felt the things that I was able to control, I was good at, I was successful at, and I look back at my career, and I'm very happy with how it all went.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think you've been the most honest about the draft process I've ever had on here.
Brutal.
It's like
I
everyone's
like so long on it, but I hate to be so long and dreary on it. But man, it is. Everything I just said, it's nightmarish. It's horrible. And you can't. It's like you can. What's the call drop there? I lost you there, Jake.
Yeah.
You have to hit the record button again. Sorry about that. I just all of a sudden I'm talking to you and it just dropped.
Yeah, no, I'm recording still. It's all good.
Okay. So anyway, what's the old saying? You can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. It's the same thing I tell these guys every year. I can tell you everything you want to know about this combine experience, but you're never going to be able to really know until you go do it, until you experience it. And every one of the guys I've coached, and I've coached now probably 20 guys now in the last 4 years, I get a text almost every time, like after that first day or second day. "Oh my gosh, man, everything you say is happening, and then some. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is I feel prepared. I thank God. I thank God I'm prepared. I feel ready. But man, and you were so right with the scheduling. But anyway,
yeah, no, it's just it's funny to hear you say that because I feel like everyone's like, yeah, no, I'm enjoying the process and everything. And
man, they're lying. They're lying. They're told. I see that on the NFL Network. I see it all on ESPN. Like, oh man, it's been going great. No, it's not. No, it's not. Trust me. You get those guys behind closed doors, they're going, "What the heck was that?"
Oh my God, it's funny because ever since the NFL's kind of opened up the lens a little bit to your average viewer.
Yeah.
With that whole Hard Knocks thing and All or Nothing, it started to get people that really. Obviously, we'll never totally understand. I've never played football. I was a baseball player, but football's always been my favorite sport to watch, to analyze, whatever.
Sure.
I just think that's the best sport. But it's just funny, seeing all like the Rams were on All or Nothing. The Rams were on Hard Knocks, and you saw defensive line coach Mike Waffle, and everyone's like, wow, isn't he a little, like, kind of too mean? And I'm like, I assume he's probably like everybody else. I'm sure, like, coaches are as hard as possible.
You walk into a corporate job, Jake, anywhere in America, you're not going to see a Mike Waffle. But they can't. It's just not. It just can't happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's an HR department that's going to be knocking down your door if you're acting like that. But that's what sets apart professional sports from anything else in this world, and it's at the highest level. You know, Mike Waffle's a great D-line coach, and he's going to get it out of his guys. You know what I mean? And that's as much as I think that they've opened, like you said, they've opened up that lens to kind of show people what the NFL is all about and what goes into this, the Hard Knocks. You know, it's brutal to watch Hard Knocks and when it comes to cut time and see these guys' dreams end. You know what I mean? Being told you're not good enough, we're going to let you go. I mean, that's brutal. There's
it's even more brutal when you interview somebody and then you watch the thing and it's like,
they're getting cut.
Saw that guy.
I mean, there's things that you can say happen in the real world and happen in corporate America versus and happen in the NFL, and there's more things that don't relate to real life, to corporate America and to a real job. People get fired every day. You can relate that to getting cut, but it's still tough for guys, because there's so much more that goes into it. Not saying that there's a lot that goes into a job because people go to school for many years to get a nice high paying job, but it's different. It's really different. And I always every year come around cut time, man. I just go, man, I feel for guys. I feel for guys. I still get kind of nervous, like when those weeks come around, because it's like I was there. I remember seeing teammates and buddies of mine who I loved, man, who are friends, who I still talk to, that had that happen to them. And so it's great that they've opened it up. I think it's cool because it's a lot of the public kind of see, what really it's all about to make it in the NFL, which I think is one of the hardest. I think baseball is very hard to make it in. Football is right up there. I think baseball's number one, but football, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's a dog eat dog world, and they're always looking for the next guy. I'll never forget heading into my last preseason game my rookie year. The game didn't mean anything, and all the veterans weren't playing. But me as a rookie, I was going to play all 4 quarters. So I was getting ready to play for a full game. I remember Joe Horn came up to me. Remember Joe Horn, the old receiver for the Saints?
The phone celebration that he's
the
famous
cell
for.
phone, cell phone horn. Yeah, he pulled out that phone underneath the goalpost against. I think it was against the Jets. But Joe was a great teammate, and Joe was one of the hardest practicing players I ever played with. Love Joe, a constant professional. But he came up to me and he said, hey, he never called me Mike. He never called me by my last name. Never called me Mike or Karney. He called me Hammer. He only called me Hammer. And it wasn't Hammer. And he came up to me and goes, hey, Hammer. He goes, congrats, man. You made it. And I said, thanks, Joe. He goes, just remember this, though. I said, what's that? He said, today begins the process to replace you. Huh. And I was like, what? It was like Mike Tyson had punched me in the face. I was like, what the heck? And I kind of chewed on that, and then he looked at me for all weird, and then he walked away. But I chewed on that the rest of the day. I'm like, man, he's so right. And even though now that you made the team and you're a starter, today begins the day that they're going to try and replace you and find someone younger and better. That's how competitive it is. And every year they would bring in a young fullback out of college to compete, or just to kind of, hey, you're the guy, but, we want to see what this guy's all about. It's every year. It's happening every year, every position. It's not happening to guys like Drew Brees. It's not happening to guys like Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski, and I eventually made myself into a bona fide, solidified starter, but you still had that in the back of your mind going, man, they're looking to find someone to replace me. It's true, so it's a brutal, yeah, these guys make millions of dollars and do very well, but man, it's brutal. It's a cutthroat business.
Yeah, no, it definitely, that's my vibe I get from it. I don't feel like anybody really takes any of this for granted. Although if they do, I think then you start to see, a pattern of why they keep getting caught from teams and, maybe
Sure.
they're not putting in the work. Sometimes that stuff does show up, but, it's tough. I mean, having different people just reach out to me, that have either, they've gone undrafted and they had a workout and didn't go well or whatever, so they're trying to get their name out there. It's tough to even get in the room, but then once you're in the room, you have to really, prove yourself why you should last another 5 minutes in that room. So,
right.
it's pretty crazy, but, you got to take me through the whole idea of like joining the Rams, because I know, the Rams, I mean, living in upstate New York, I was laughed at for being a Rams fan my whole life. So, I mean, you join the Saints, as a rookie, you're drafted by the Saints. Saints are pretty well known as like a team that's been consistently good and whatnot. And then you go to the Rams. What made you sign with the Rams?
Yeah, it was one of them things where, when I got to the Saints, we were still considered the Aints, 04, 05, and then 06, Sean Payton came in, Drew Brees came over, and we signed Drew, and then we became something special. But then we topped out, in 07, 08, and, we didn't know where it was going. I mean, for me, I saw the game turning. I saw the position. I saw offenses going away from the fullback position. And with the college game progressing the way it was, all the pistol and the spread and no huddle, I was like, man, this is not good. Seeing veteran fullbacks that I looked up to, that I played along with or against, your Lorenzo Neals, your William Hendersons, your Tony Richardsons, your Max Strong, those guys were all retiring. And there was nobody else to look to except for guys like me and a few other guys that were still playing. But there was no one in college to look at and go, wow, that could be the next this, that could be the next this, that they could compare that guy to. And so I kind of saw that and became a free agent. And, I saw an opportunity where I could go block for one of the best running backs at the time in the league, in Steven Jackson. I think he's one of the top 15 in my book, top 10 greats of all time, and as a running back. And so I'm saying, I can go block with this guy. I can go, block for him. And so I thought that was an opportunity for me to play with him. At the time, Steve Spagnuolo was coming from New York, and he wanted to run a two-back system, and he wanted me there. And it was a perfect fit. It ended up, only lasted 2 years, but it was 2 great years. I had 2 great years with Steven, and, we were able to get him into the Pro Bowl those 2 years. Then my last year there in 2010, we drafted Sam Bradford, and you can kind of see that they were going to go more and more away from it. So it was kind of one of those things where it just, for me, it was more of a personal to business decision to go to St. Louis. Kind of a crapshoot. I didn't know, it's kind of rolling the dice, but I saw a great running back and a Pro Bowl, all-pro running back that I could block for, and that was really enticing. That was, that for me, that was everything I wanted as a fullback.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we signed you, because I was like, why did we let Madison Hedgecock go? I mean, this guy, you draft him in the 7th round, and he was like an all-pro looking, fullback. Of course, yeah. I will say this: Madden never caught up with how good he was, and the same for you. like, what is this 82 overall? Like, don't give me an overall out of like everybody in the league. Give me an overall out of the fullbacks.
We why? Because we don't have any stats. There's no stats for us.
Yeah, well, there's film.
A lot of that stuff's based off stats, but
I know.
There's film. But Madison was a great player, man, and he ended up going on to the New York and Giants and winning the Super Bowl, and things worked out well for him, which I'm happy for. But at the time, that those late that 2007, 8, 9, 10, man, it was tough sledding for fullbacks for us to find jobs and to stay within the offense. Like I said, the offenses were really going away from us and evolving, and they really just didn't see a need for us anymore.
Yeah, and the Rams just they just cut Sam Rodgers, a 6th rounder, out of Virginia Tech.
From last year, draft.
That was unfortunate because I felt like they were actually